Welcome to Verse of the Day. Just got done, but my sound wasn't on. And so, if my sound is not on, I'm going to just throw this out there. Text my wife, and she'll come running and telling me. I don't see the comments that are put up. I need to fix that where I can see the comments. I appreciate people trying to tell me in the comments, but I don't see it until I get off. So my apologies for not having the sound on. I have started using a little microphone, and I forget that the computer doesn't just automatically jump off of the microphone if it's not plugged in, and so there's just no sound to it. And anyways, today's verse of the day was Romans chapter 5. Romans chapter 5 and verse 18, which reads, "Therefore, as through one man's offense judgment came to all men, resulting in condemnation, even so through one man's righteous act the free gift came to all men, resulting in justification of life." And so as we read here in Romans chapter 5, and you're reading the verses above it, hopefully, and the verses that come after it all the way to the end of the chapter, and it's all speaking about the similarities and yet the differences of Adam's sin and Jesus' sacrifice. And so here it's bringing out about somewhat the similarities. It says, "Therefore, through one man's offense, judgment came to all men." But then we talk about the one man's righteous act, free gift came to all men. And so that's the similarities, is that Adam's sin, and therefore sin has entered into the entire world. All have sinned and fallen short of the glory of God, as we talked about in chapter 3. And so it's continuing down that point. But through one's righteous act, all have the opportunity to receive this gift of God of salvation. And as you read through this entire chapter, it also tries to point out the differences, is that it was one man's sin that through one man's transgression, is I believe how the New American Standard reads it, that sin entered the world. But then it says through many transgression that the righteous gift has come to us, because who all put Christ on the cross. You have the Romans, you have the Jews, and then of course all our sins is the reason he had to be put on that cross. But and so there's similarities and there's differences, but then as you read through this chapter, I believe the biggest point it tries to point out is how much more does Christ's act outweigh Adam's, right? How much more does this sacrifice, this selfless sacrifice, mean to us, and it is greater than Adam's sin, and so we can have salvation. And so I want to thank you for joining me again if you were sitting there listening to nothing and trying to read my lips. I apologize for that. Anyways, I thank you for joining me. I hope you have a blessed day, and if the Lord is willing, I will talk